We all know the song about Godzilla. With a purposeful grimace and a terrible smile, he pulls the spinning high-tension wires down helpless people on subway trains. Well, what if I told you that Mothra actually got her own song from the speed heavy metal band Anvil? Yeah. Of the same name, in a small town outside of Destiny, and just a 5-minute epic. There's the live epic. There's a live version on Past and Present Live that blows the studio version out of the water. Still good. Mothra gets her own movie, 1961. American artwork. From the creators of Godzilla, a sci-fi classic, the wildly colorful kaiju Eiga monster movie, Mothra. Following reports of human life on Infant Island, the supposedly deserted site of atomic bomb test, an international expedition of the heavily radiated island discovers a native tribe and tiny twin female fairies called shobijin, priestesses, who guard a sacred egg. The overzealous expedition leader, Clark Nelson, kidnaps the shobijin to exhibit in a Tokyo stage show, but soon they summon their protector, hatching the egg and releasing a giant caterpillar. When Mothra arrives in Japan and finally transfers into the ultimate beast, impervious to modern weapons, the nation and its people face their destruction. Toho noticed at the time that there were a lot of females going to the audience at the time, and they would bring some people with them. So they said, hey, let's devise a female monster. Let's still have a rampage, but only so that way she can get her priestesses back. And so the Shobijin managed to just go out. They get kidnapped. They get put on a stage show. The actresses who played them were the idol group, thing like boy bands. The Peanuts, and no relation to Charles Schultz Peanuts. It's just, they perform the song of Mothra. They have near identical voices. You could barely tell them apart, especially in their song Kawaii Hana, Pretty Flower. There's a couple of elaborate sets. There's a couple of, this is more of that has to do with a relationship between America and Russia at the time, because there's a guy who manages to abscond the priestesses. He goes, this guy manages to abduct the priestesses and puts them in a show and still keeps them captive in a cage, despite him saying, that they're very happy. Gotta love it. And it just, just the set when they're going on Infant Island where Mothra lives, completely different from the Godzilla version. Half barren, half viridian, if you will. Green, of course. Affected by the atomic or hydrogen bomb testing. They walk in, and this stuff looks really nice. It's on the sound set, they probably planted on the stage. They planted all the trees. They've got the nice set. They've got the nice, beautiful choreography. This is a well-produced movie. We're talking just an incredible, just the way how it all looks. This is elaborate. This is an elaborate movie. It does take a little bit for Mothra to appear. About 40 minutes in, I would say. Which seems to be the standard for all the for all the monster movies. Just enough to tease you, but at the same time, when it appears, it's worth the wait. Trust me. Eventually, she hatches out as a caterpillar and starts to just swim towards Tokyo. What a surprise. Just to get her priestesses back. And, it's we got the human characters are pretty good. We got Zen, who's known as the snapping turtle, because once he gets a hold of something, he won't let go. We've got a member of the female press. We've got the two bad guys. One of them even has a devious mustache, so obviously he's going to be a little evil. And he's a slime ball, just putting him on the stage. It's also a vehicle for the Peanuts to sing. You know, it's like they got the footage of them both performing, and then just just blue screen them to make them only appear like a foot tall. It's like the actual fairies themselves, like they can't speak English, but they can towards the end after learning whatever. That's something to overlook. You know, and then eventually when Mothra comes, you know, she's swimming, bursts through a dam, and then just causes havoc all over town, destroying buildings, making the streets rumble. It's just good. You could tell, you know, like the miniatures are, well, miniatures, yes, because this is 1961, so there were no computers back then. They were in their absolute infancy. And just, you know, things get destroyed. Obviously, one of the highlights is she goes above Tokyo Tower, enter the pupil phase, go in the cocoon. Like, she gets up the tower, rests herself up, but then falls down because the tower can't support her weight. So, they manage to kind of cook her cocoon, but she still somehow survives. Makes sense of that. Whatever. Eventually morphs into the Mothra, the puppet that we know. It was a 265-pound puppet that required 8 people to operate it. And oh boy, are those winds powerful. Just blowing easily a couple hundred miles per hour. I realize the timing of this with Hurricane Milton, but whatever. She's just causing havoc. She's like the more, how do I say it? She's only destructive because they took her shobijin. And yeah. Eventually in the end, you know, earlier in the movie, there's the handwriting that they see is like, what is this cross? Eventually, because Mothra makes her way, I think, to Newkirk City, I'm guessing New York, they notice a cross, and it's like, you know, it's like another theme of like, hey, how religion can be a part of, across the country, of unifying people. Yes, although Japan is Buddhist and Shintoist, like maybe 3% are Christian, so I don't know. Make what you will of that. It's just a movie. It's a movie, but you know, it's just an interesting way of seeing like one country's perspective of two others that were kind of arguing at the time. So I don't know. Say what you will about that, you know. So yeah, overall, this is a dang good movie. If there were any problems, I guess it would be there's this rambunctious kid who goes around. There's also this other guy, Zen, who manages to get the better of like 4 evil people, like four the antagonists, manages to wipe them out. I'm like, and just, you know, like how they're like the telepathy that the fairies have. It's like it gets blocked out with this kind of stuff that was used for like nuclear testing or something like that. I don't get that. And the natives don't put up much of a fight. I don't know. Everything just flows well, but there are a couple of problems to keep in where it just gets kind of bad. You know, it goes to Newkirk City. Good finale. So, you know, yeah. So, do I recommend Mothra, the original, the Japanese version? Oh, heck yeah, please. Give the original Japanese one a watch. And, of course, eventually she would go to the Godzillaverse and make her way into the Monsterverse. And all because of 1961's Mothra.